I don't know, man. The Nuggets might be back. I don't know. Are the Nuggets back? Are the Nuggets back? I have no idea. I have no idea. Listen, Quab's not here. I'm riding solo. It's really early Wednesday morning. I'm about to go to work. I had to do a recap on this game because it was exciting to see what the Nuggets did last night to the Clippers. Really exciting to see what they did. Let's go over the box score first. Jamal Murray, 43 points on 8 of 14 shooting from three-point range, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Aaron Gordon had 23. Russell Westbrook with a great game, 21 points. For the Clippers, Zubac had 27, Kawhi 20, 11 and 9, Bogdanovich with 18 and 5. The Nuggets win 131 to 115 and take a 3-2 series lead against the LA Clippers. Listen, man, the one thing that I would point out to with this game was just the energy from the Nuggets. The Nuggets all season, we've watched them and we've had them like anywhere between like 4 and like 9 in our power rankings, depending on like the win streaks they went on. But I don't think I've seen like this fire from the Nuggets in a really freaking long time. In a really long time. I mean, they were the aggressors on both sides of the ball today. They were running every chance they got. The movement going on, they would set down screens for Jokic. Jokic would come off a down screen, then set a screen for Jamal Murray, and then a pick and pop. And the movements had the Clippers just going everywhere. They just could not figure out what the Nuggets were doing. Jokic running point at times. Jamal Murray just hitting. Jamal Murray was ridiculous today. I mean that helps also, right? When you have somebody who's unconscious and just hitting off balance 3 pointers off of a whim. I mean, that helps. You know what I mean? That helps. But overall, I mean, just Christian Brown defensively on James Harden. I know James Harden is going to get a lot of hate on X on Twitter tonight, and for the rest of the playoffs, especially if the Clippers lose this series. But Christian Brown playing defense on Harden pretty much full court, not letting him get into a rhythm. Harden not being aggressive at all. Anytime Kawhi got the ball and he started to drive, they would double him immediately. They would double him in the post. They would double Harden too sometimes, but mostly Kawhi. They were not going to let Kawhi get to his spots and beat them like he did in game two. So good defensive adjustment there. Going zone. The Nuggets have had trouble guarding the 3-point line all season, and a lot of that had to do with them not being able to guard the pick and roll. Well, how do you kind of just negate that when you go to a 2-3 zone and you don't really have to guard the pick and roll the same way? So shout out to the Nuggets for doing that. That makes a lot of sense. And then just running the basketball, just running, picking up the pace, putting pressure. Aaron Gordon was phenomenal. He's been phenomenal all series. Russell Westbrook had a great game, even when he missed. My thing with Russ is he's sporadic, but his decision making that really gets him into trouble, right? If you're taking open threes and you're missing them, it's whatever. Like, you're gonna have an off night sometimes. It just is what it is. You're streaky. It's when he's turning the ball over and doing dumb things and hesitating with the basketball, then shooting bad shots. That's when Russ gets in trouble. And you had great Russell Westbrook today. You're gonna get that from time to time. Russ was great today. You got to give him credit for that. And Christian Brown, man. I mean, to me, he's been an unsung hero, guarding James Harden, who is the playmaker for the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi can create plays as well, but not in the way that James Harden can with the pick and roll. And Harden was very timid today. He just was not, looking for his shot. He was not looking for the drive. He had an open three in the second half where it looked like he barely stepped into it and shot it. It was weird, just lackadaisical. I don't want to throw that label on him. I think it's kind of unfair sometimes because he's had some great playoff games, but he's also had playoff games like today where it's like, okay, man, where are you? We kind of need you. This is a swing game, game 5. Where are you? And Harden just didn't show up in that way today. I thought the Clippers, I think for the most part in the first half, they matched the energy of the Nuggets. I thought Bogdanovich gave great minutes. I thought Norman Powell was energetic. Zoo did his thing. I thought they matched their energy. The Clippers just weren't hitting the shots that the Nuggets were hitting. Jamal Murray was going crazy. Russell Westbrook came in and went nuts. But still, the Clippers, for the most part, matched their intensity and stayed in the game. And then the third quarter, the Nuggets just didn't lose a beat. Maybe even came out even more intense than they were in the first half. And I wouldn't say completely put the game away. The Clippers made a run in the third quarter there, but there was just nothing the Clippers could do today. The Nuggets were just that on today, and it reminded me of the 2023 team with the ball moving, with Jokic being great. Jokic didn't have the stat line. I didn't even show no Jokic in the box score because he didn't have a great stat line, but I thought he had a really good game. He didn't shoot well, but he was pushing the pace every time he got the basketball. He was keeping the Clippers on their toes. They used him as a hub in different situations in the half-court set. So for me, I thought he was great. He wasn't like MVP great. He wasn't all-time great, but he was still great. He was still, one of the best players on the court, despite his stat line. So for me, if I'm a Clippers fan, I'm a little nervous here now. That's 2 games in a row you've lost. 1 game that you could have won, depending, a tenth of a second away from going to overtime in a game you had momentum. You could be going back to Los Angeles with a 3-2 lead. Now you're in 3-2 deficit, losing 2 games in a row, and your best playmaker is not looking the same right now. Kawhi, past 2 games, today he was good. I shouldn't say past 2 games. Today he was good. But if I'm Clippers, I'm a little worried right now. I'm a little worried right now, not because of the offense particularly, but because Ty Lue has to figure out a way how to stop this team defensively. They have to stop the Nuggets. The Nuggets look like a machine offensively, and they've looked like a machine offensively, honestly, for most of the year. That was never the problem with the Nuggets. The problem with the Nuggets was defense, and they maybe figured it out. We'll see. We'll see what adjustments Ty Lue does in Game 6. We'll see what James Harden shows up in Game 6, because that's going to be very important. How does Ty Lue adjust to the Nuggets doubling Kawhi Leonard when he tries to get to his spots? That's going to be something. They seem to be very content letting Zubac get his, which I don't blame him. Zoo is not going to win a game on his own. You're not going to give the ball to Zoo, and he's not going to beat you guys. Him having a big game could hurt you, but you would rather him go off than anybody else. It's going to be very interesting. Ty Lue has his hands full, trying to figure out a way to get Harden going. To me, that's the key. If you get 30 and 10 James Harden, he's creating plays, creating havoc, I think the Clippers win Game 6, and honestly, I think they win the series too. I do. I still think the Clippers are the better team here. I think they're a better team defensively, even though the Nuggets has them running in circles right now. But I do think that I'll just give my Game 6 prediction now. I think the Clippers win in Game 6. I think you see a team that matches the intensity of the Denver Nuggets. That crowd at the Intuit Dome has been into it, no pun intended. They've been great. They have a home court advantage there. You have a playmaker in Kawhi. You have a playmaker in James Harden. Norman Powell has been playing well. Bogey, if he brings that same intensity. I think the Clippers do win a Game 6 in Los Angeles. I think this is going to go 7. I do. Now, Game 7, we'll talk about that if it happens. But the Nuggets, man, I might have wrote them off early. It was funny. We had them in the power rankings all year. One time we had them at 4. And everyone's like, why do you have the Warriors are hot, the Lakers were hot. And no one could understand why we had them at 4. And Kwab and I justified, listen, they have Jokic, best player in the world. Their offense is always humming. If they could just figure it out on defense, yeah, this team could win the championship. And then, the last week of the season, I backed off on that. So I can't hop on the bandwagon. I can't, but I love what I'm seeing from the Nuggets. They're a fun team. I think that they match up very interestingly with OKC. So an OKC-Denver semifinals would be fascinating to me. But we'll see. They might be back. I don't know. Let me know if you think the Nuggets are back in the comments. That's the question I'm going to ask. Are the Denver Nuggets back? Are they back? I think they gotta win that series before we really know. We'll see. Well, listen, Kwab was out today. He was under the weather. But we're going to try to do Rockets-Warriors recap later. Also, Timberwolves-Lakers recap later. And also preview the Cavs-Pacers. That's a fascinating series as well. So once Kwab gets better, we'll do all that. You can follow me over at Josh_Rodriguez_ or at the Dime NBA. Subscribe. We're doing game recaps as much as we can. Also, series predictions, season, just full episodes, all that good stuff. Just subscribe. We're having a good time over here. All right, we'll catch you tonight. Peace.